All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. There's a buzz around Madison Square Garden that has not been at the world's most famous arena for a very long time. For the third consecutive year, the New York Knicks have eclipsed the 100-point mark in the regular season. Pardon me, the New York Rangers. Please forgive me for that. They have eclipsed the 100-point mark in the regular season, and they have their sights set on doing some big things in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, over the last 2 months, the Rangers have only tasted defeat 5 times as they have the appearance of a team that is looking to make a serious run at Lord Stanley's Cup. The New York Knicks, now I can talk about the Knicks, have sifted through the rubble in the Eastern Conference, and now they are one of the top teams in the East. You look at the Knickerbockers right now, they're getting ready to start their game with the San Antonio Spurs, but they're 44 and 28. They're sitting currently in third place in the Eastern Conference, and they have their fan base believing. I say this because anybody old enough to remember will tell you that 1994 was a special time in New York City. The New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1940, while the Knicks fell just short of winning their first NBA title since 1973 as they lost a heartbreaker to the Houston Rockets in the NBA Finals. And if you want to take it a step further, the New York Yankees had once again become the New York Yankees at that point, and they looked like they were poised to make a run at the World Series until the Major League Baseball strike happened. But nonetheless, getting back to both the Rangers and the Knicks, there is something very, very special about winning in New York City, especially if you're able to do it in the confines of Madison Square Garden. And you look at these Rangers, they've had their near misses in recent years. We saw this team get to the, granted, different squad nonetheless, but we saw them get to the Eastern Conference Finals in both 2012 and 2015. We also saw them lose in the Stanley Cup Final to the Los Angeles Kings a decade ago. But most recently, getting to the conference finals 2 years ago, where they blew a 2-0 lead in the series to the Tampa Bay Lightning. And, it's one of those where with so many near misses, if you're the Rangers, especially if you're the Rangers fans, you just have to wonder, is this going to be the year where the Blueshirts put it all together? They have a very talented team, and I think the Rangers are going to be a tough out come later in the spring in the playoffs. Now, you look at this team under first year head coach Peter Laviolette. He's looking to make some more of that magic, if you will. Laviolette led the Carolina Hurricanes to the Stanley Cup championship back in 2006. He also took both the Philadelphia Flyers and Nashville Predators to the Stanley Cup final as well. And now he's looking to get it done with the Blueshirts here in 2024. A career year for left winger Artemi Panarin, who is flirting with reaching 50 goals in a season for the first time in his career. Now, as a team, the Rangers are eighth in the NHL in goals per game average as well as assists, and they're also fourth in power play percentage. But it's not just about what you do on offense. We all know this, regardless of the sport. What can you do defensively? And of course, in hockey, if you don't have that netminder that could shut the other team down or limit what they do, and he can manage and do his thing between the pipes, you really don't have a leg to stand on. The Rangers are blessed with two solid goalies. You look at Igor Shesterkin, he's a starter, and you look at what he has been able to do for the Rangers. And honestly, getting a veteran like Jonathan Quick at this state of the game is big. I know that Quick, he had, his best years with the LA Kings, helped them win multiple championships. And we saw how dominating in those Stanley Cup runs that Quick was for the Kings. And now at this state of his career, he's bringing that to the New York Rangers. So if you're Laviolette, on the Rangers, you really, if you go from Shesterkin and then bring in Jonathan Quick, you're really not losing anything. And of course, you have so much veteran experience right there. Now, getting back to the Rangers as a whole, getting to the Stanley Cup will not be easy in the Stanley Cup playoffs because of the depth of the Eastern Conference. Very good teams out there. You look at the Bruins, the Florida Panthers, the Toronto Maple Leafs. You can never count out the Tampa Bay Lightning this time of the year. And the same thing goes for the ultra tough Carolina Hurricanes. But nonetheless, this Rangers team has proven all year long that they can hang with the Joneses. And this is why I think they are poised to make a serious run at the Cup in the postseason. Now, the other tenants in Madison Square Garden, I'm talking about the New York Knicks. The vibe that is around this team has not been there for very long, or for a long time, should I say. You know, you think about it, for more than 2 decades, the Knicks have tried and tried and tried and tried until they were finally able to put the pieces to the puzzle together to have a contender. I'm not saying a championship team, but having a contender that will give their fan base hope. And it's got the Big Apple believing in them once again. And again, I'm going back to, the title of this, Party Like It's 1994. Anybody old enough to remember, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record here. You go back to the 90s, Madison Square Garden was the place to be. The Knicks didn't win a championship, yes, but they always gave their fan base hope. This was a place that was rocking, every night, every afternoon, especially in the postseason, you name it. And these current Knicks, have their fans believing like that again. I've talked about it. Other people have said it as well. The Villanova Knicks. You look at what Jalen Brunson has been since he's come to the Knicks, and honestly, he might be one of the best free agent signing steals ever, in NBA history at the rate that he's going. You think about, his college teammate in Josh Hart as well as Dante DiVincenzo as well. And now it's all about the Knicks trying to get healthy as they make that postseason run. How much will they have in the tank to make that deep postseason run? We got to wait and see. They're up to number three, 10 games to go for them, nine after tonight in the regular season. And if the regular season ended today, the Knicks would play the Pacers in the first round, of course. Longtime storied rivalry historically with the Indiana Pacers. A lot of difference with both of these teams currently, yes. But then also advantage Knicks because of their depth. And then on top of that, the Pacers are one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, while the Knicks are one of the best. And I think that's something definitely that the Knicks can exploit. But of course, their big thing is in order for them to get out of the East, they're going to have to get through both Milwaukee and Boston. So that's going to be the big thing. Will the Knicks be up for those challenges? We've got to wait and see. But New York is still on pace to win 50 games in a season. When I say New York, I mean the Knicks in this one. They're still on pace to win 50 games in a season for the first time in 12 years. And I think that is something that is big. I think this Knicks team, they're believing, they're hungry, they fight, they scrap, they claw, they do everything that the New York fans want to see out of them. Now let's see if they themselves, can make that deep run in the NBA playoffs as well. You got to go back to the year 2000 to find the last time that the Knicks got to the conference finals. That is a month of some days if you're a basketball fan in New York City. But nonetheless, both the Rangers and Knicks have their respective fan bases believing this year at the same time, which is something we haven't been able to say in quite some time. Now, should the borough of Manhattan get ready for a ticker tape parade or two this spring? I'm gonna pump the brakes on it at least. But I am gonna say, you know what? Both of these fan bases have hope. I do think right now the Rangers, out of both of them, are better positioned to make a legit run at the championship this spring in their respective postseason. But that's not to say that the Knicks will not be formidable when the postseason turns around. Like I said, and I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, 1994 was a very special time in New York City for both the New York Knicks as well as the New York Rangers. Will we see some of that pixie dust come back to the Big Apple this spring? Only time will tell. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.